It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Welcome to the special All the Horror edition of the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name's Tom, and joining me is the usual gang of idiots, Mike.
Hello.
Les.
I'm an idiot.
And Liz.
Her.
No, I seriously doubt anyone's going to get the Mad reference, but that's a Mad magazine.
I don't know. They might.
They might. And joining us for this very special episode is good friends of ours. We've had them on several times, and it's always a blast when they come on.
It's not even worth trying to count. It's been a lot.
Right. From Pitney Amelia's Bitchen Boutique, it's Pitney.
Hello.
And Amelia.
Hi.
Yay.
Welcome.
Well, thank you. It's awesome. Thank you.
So how are you guys doing?
Great. I mean, all things considering, yes, very good.
Yeah, good. Other than we are having a record-breaking heat wave in San Jose, California right now, which I'm very unamused by, but it's okay. It's ending. It's ending.
Like over 100 degrees. Like it's way hotter there than it's like 10 degrees hotter there than it is here in Texas.
I know, and I was like, I moved away from Texas to get away from this shit.
It followed you.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Amelia has been slowly mailing it to you every week.
I guess
as long as you've been there.
Okay. I do want to say one thing before we get into it. Amelia, thank you very much. Because of you, I've had the year of the cat in my head for about 2 or 3 weeks.
Oh no, I'm sorry. Now I'm going to have it back in my head.
You're welcome.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Happy to help out.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep passing it back and
Down the
forth.
Road is still pretty. I'm very much enjoying Agatha All Along on Disney, and that Down the Witch's Road song is so damn good. I've been singing.
Oh yeah, God, that's the one you sent to me, and I was really liked it because it seemed like it was real and it was respectful to paganism, and I thought it was really awesome.
Beautiful.
Oh God, it sounded so good.
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Oh man, yeah.
But yeah, sorry about that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's the thought that counts.
Hey, at least somebody heard it.
Ouch.
I mean, our huge numbers we pull in when we do a live stream.
So, why don't y'all take a couple minutes to kind of talk about the Bitchen Boutique for those who may not have checked out the podcast?
I'm going to make Pitney do it, because I always
There you go.
to.
That's true.
Oh, Lord have mercy. It is, okay. We have been besties for, 40 years?
40 years.
40 years. And, we have lots of overlapping interests. All geeky, fandom, horror, Doctor Who, costuming, Rocky Horror, drag, Kiss.
Yeah.
And we talk about all of it.
Yeah.
And we talk about our crazy lives and all the misadventures we've had. And it's just a slice of life podcast, but with a very, very sassy, gay, foul-mouthed sensibility.
Sassy, gay, foul-mouthed sensibility.
And I always tell people when I'm telling them, it's like, it is not for the faint of heart. So if you don't like naughty language, don't fucking listen.
Yeah. I tell a lot of people, you probably shouldn't listen. It's not for you.
No, we're endlessly entertaining, and I always use Paul Stanley's quote about Kiss when I talk about the podcast. We are all things to all people.
Yes.
And you can love it or hate it, but you can't ignore it. And that's how I feel about our show. Is that good, Amelia? Is that good?
I think that's very good.
Very fitting, if you ask me. I mean,
yeah, really. I gotta say, I've been enjoying this year, the year of us. It's been fun listening to.
That's awesome! Thank you.
Yeah, because this year was celebrating. Well, when we realized that January of this year was the 40th anniversary of us meeting through a mutual friend, and we just sort of had the idea of having every episode this year be a particular topic that we have a lot of stories about, and we're going to be glad when it's over, because even though it helps and it's really fun to like stir up old memories of things we haven't talked about in a while, we haven't been talking about current events or anything like at all, and this is a hell of a year to not be talking about what's going on out there.
Yeah, nothing's going on, so I mean,
yeah, totally boring. Mm-hmm. Nothing at all.
I mean, we did have to we did do one just like, okay, we have to get some things out, and then we went back onto the schedule. And then we recorded another one in case we just couldn't do something one week, and I can just put that one out there. But I forgot about it till like just now. So I don't know what.
God, I forgot what it even was. Oh my goodness.
Maybe that'll be like the first episode of next year. Like, fuck it. I don't know. I don't remember. I honestly don't. I just remember that we did it just in case.
There you go.
It's always good to have a fallback.
Uh-huh. We've talked about doing something like that, but we've never done it. Well, it's God, y'all got some crazy ass stories. Wow.
Well, we know a lot of crazy ass people.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
If you go to like a lot of cons over your life, you meet a lot of very unusual people, and
And I love them all. And there's probably some show out there talking about us.
Oh, I'm sure that
we
there's
don't
people
know
who tell
about,
stories.
remember?
Yeah, like we
crazy,
don't.
Yeah.
People who don't know who we are, but they're just like, remember that time we were at that con and that,
Oh, I'd be delighted.
The year at Texas Frightmare when you were the zombie prom queen who died from her tiara being fed in her head.
I looked so fabulous.
You looked so hot. Like he had like guys walking up behind him all night, just being like, "So hey," and he'd turn around like, "Hi," with his goatee and everything. He had a great wig. He had a skin tight dress.
That literally did happen. So funny.
Nice.
It was a good night.
That's awesome.
Good icebreaker.
Hell yeah.
Well, hi. Oh, shit. Yeah. It was so much fun.
People should freak out when they see zombies. That's something we need to get conditioned back into the society.
That's true.
You're just doing
zombies
your part.
really shouldn't look as good as he did, and I had so much fun making that wig, like taking that wig and sewing a tiara into it so that it was sticking out and then having like matted blood all down one side.
Yeah, it's cool.
Beautiful. I don't know whatever happened to that. But
I have pictures. I'll send you all pictures of it.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
fabulous.
Cool.
Anyway.
Anyway. Our show could have been called Anyway. Because we probably say it at least once an episode.
Oh, I think that comes up on our show every so often too. But yeah,
Yeah.
the tangents are kind of a thing that we do.
Yeah, well, it's hard because you get excited about something and you're talking with friends.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
And then you kind of forget, like, oh, this is supposed to be, like, going out to people that know us. It's supposed to be, like, a formatted, entertaining thing. And yet kind of forget about that.
Sorry, we
sometimes.
forgot all those people are going to be listening to it later.
Exactly.
Oh, well.
That's part of the charm, honestly. I mean, come on. That's the deal.
Yeah.
The format is fun. I mean, do you remember we were talking about the 70s earlier. You're talking about, do you remember a British show called Up Pompeii?
I do. Yes, I do.
Yes.
Well, I loved that the whole premise of that show was this poor bastard trying and failing to start the show.
Yeah.
How many times in every episode did he say the prologue?
Exactly, and then someone interrupts him.
And it was hilarious, right? It was hilarious.
Years, but yes, I do.
Mm-hmm.
And even though it was before we started recording, that guy, Frankie Howard, in the Sgt. Pepper movie.
Oh.
He plays Mr. Mustard.
Oh, really?
Cool.
The world, it all comes back to the Sgt. Pepper movie. All things can be connected to that movie.
I hadn't thought about Up Pompeii in forever.
Can't argue.
I know.
Great.
There.
I'm sure I have a copy of it somewhere because I have a British friend who was always burning illegal crap for us. I have boxes and boxes of
Oh God, me too.
DVDs with her handwriting on it. It's like, yeah, sure it's in there somewhere. God, we love illegal downloads.
We're not condoning illegal downloads.
This is why we don't use our real names.
I mean, we can't stop it either, but... Hi, Steve. Oh, yeah,
Well, no, but back in the day when I used to, I have this huge collection of, old, made-for-TV horror and all this weird, crazy horror movies from the 80s. They're so out of print.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm talking they're VHS copies from you know what I mean? So I don't think it's harmful. It's not like
they force us to download things. They force us to share illegal content.
Yeah, it's like I'm downloading something that just came out last year because I would never do that. I'll just fucking buy it, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Half my record collection is shit that will never be re-released.
Yeah.
Because it's garbage. That's why I love it. They're not going to release the cast of Hogan's Heroes singing the music of World War II. They're never going to release that album ever again.
No. Father Abraham and the Smurfs. If you guys want to hear the best album ever recorded, Father Abraham and the Smurfs.
Oh, God, Father Abraham and Smurfland is so crazy weird.
He is a German old hippie folk singer, and he does an album with the Smurfs, and it's actually supposed to be serious and sincere.
There's a song called Why Do Smurfs Cry?
Yeah.
It's like,
but anyway, we're digressing from what we're here for.
Which is not unusual for us.
Which is not, I guess,
or
not
for us either.
Right.
That's why when we come on your show, it's like, okay, and then 3 hours later, have we talked about the movie yet?
Right.
That's what I was saying. Let's screw the movie. Let's keep talking.
Yeah.
Doing this. Come on.
I'm down.
But we're actually talking about a good movie this time.
Well, that's true. That is true.
Which is not what we usually do.
Now, blame me for that.
Yeah. Look at you picking a quality film.
Hey, once in a blue moon, hey. You know, hey. I gotta switch it up a little bit, you know?
Sure.
Keep us on our toes.
Hey! Liz and I are like great minds.
Well, speaking about great movies, let's go ahead and get into this. For Horror Month this year, we are actually doing films that are involving Jack the Ripper. Woohoo! And for this episode, we are doing the 1979 film Time After Time with Malcolm McDowell, David Warner, Mary Steenburgen.
Yes.
With Malcolm McDowell being H.G. Wells, going in his time machine to 1979 San Francisco, going after his friend who is Jack the Ripper. So let's go ahead and start talking about this film.
I had never seen this one, but when I saw it was time travel, it was like, oh, I bet Mikey loves it.
Yeah, I thought about that at one point. It's like, oh, time travel. Yeah.
Yeah. The revenge will come. I promise you.
I don't do that often, so that's okay.
You don't.
Yeah, you don't.
And I appreciate that you don't, but revenge.
I'm not so appreciative, but go ahead.
This wasn't bad. Honestly, I've looked at the movie titles, but I don't watch the movies right until we do the show. I didn't know that Jack the Ripper was our theme, so yay, I found that out.
You didn't notice the thread going between?
I didn't with the titles, but we've only done one in the series so far, which was
this is
Jack the Ripper related.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. But even watching this one, I didn't piece that together. So, yeah.
Or the fact that we talked about it last week. But anyway.
Did we?
We did.
Okay.
It's fine.
Give her a break. She's not feeling well.
I'm not.
I'm backing down now. I'm backing down now. It's cool.
Yeah.
I got you, Liz.
Thank you.
Oh, she would have picked it up if we were doing From Hell because she's a big Johnny Depp fan. So.
Yeah. For sure.
And y'all are doing the
seen that
silent one, right?
Yeah, that's what we did
last week.
The Lodger.
The Lodger.
Yeah. At y'all's recommendation, months ago when you first mentioned you were going to do Jack the Ripper movies, I actually watched The Lodger like that night. I was so excited. I went and looked it up and watched it. It's fantastic.
Isn't it though?
Crazy good.
Liz hated it.
Yeah.
You don't like silent movies, huh?
I couldn't do the silent movie. No. I tried.
It takes a certain type.
I can't do silent movies at all. I can't.
some
I
people
can
do.
barely
That's
do
fine.
black and white.
Yeah. It was kind of, and it wasn't black and white. It was sepia. So it was kind of like,
Girl, no, I could not. No, I could not.
There's like a whole guy in it.
But I was watching it and I got like 10, 15 minutes in. It's like, are they not going to say anything? Surprise to me.
Okay, that part we had not talked about beforehand. So.
I didn't remember that being brought up.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So time after time.
Yeah, the microphones were turned off every time they film, so that's why.
Well, I was just thinking it was taking a while to get there,
I don't know. It might be a speaker issue, Liz. Could be anything.
Well, and did we watch one movie where the opening credits was like freaking 10 minutes long or something? So it has happened before.
Sure.
Old movies
Fair
had
enough.
really long opening credits because they didn't really have end credits.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, man.
Shit, can you imagine if like a Marvel movie or something had all the credits at the beginning? It's like, dude,
God,
the movie gonna start?
And that one waiting for the
Under
starts.
That's why I really love like Rogue One and like the Han Solo movie. It was just like the movie started and boom, there was the title and boom, there was the movie and there was no goddamn credits until the end and then you could leave the theater.
Yeah.
And I loved that. You know?
I hate the ones where they let you think that they're going to forget it, and you get like 20 minutes into the show, and then they start rolling them. It's like, really?
Really throws me off. Yeah.
So you're not a James Bond fan then?
No.
Yeah.
Like, I thought we were getting into this, and you're just starting.
It's like, wait, is it over? Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, time after time.
Time after time.
Hey! Yeah.
So are we just going to go randomly, or are we going to try and start at the beginning, or what are we doing?
Random as you like.
Random as,
We're going to spoil it. It's going to be
We'll do
fun.
like
Oh, yeah.
We're going to, whatever.
discussion
Go
style.
nuts.
Well, the first thing I wrote down in big all caps with 3 exclamation points was the Feldman. Because
Arguably Corey Feldman's best movie right here.
I had to stop and Google because it was like, is that Feldman?
It is.
Yep.
There was no doubt in my mind. I'm like,
I was
like,
so
shit.
excited.
He's like
That had to
6.
have been his first movie, right?
You'd think.
Yeah.
He was practically in utero right before this. What are you talking about?
I mean, he did a lot of stuff as a little
whoa.
bitty kid. So
He was,
you know,
he was 5
He
or
was a
6.
really cute kid. So when he was that young. So before his Michael Jackson phase.
Yeah. He's still in.
Oh, God. Yeah, he's still
Yeah.
That's okay. Michael Jackson was still in his Michael Jackson phase when he died. But anyway.
Yeah, he had reason to be though.
He did make a little more sense for him, but yeah.
He was the man in the mirror.
Wow.
He was also a smooth criminal, but yeah.
Or Michael Jackson, because you don't want to look in the mirror and see that. Anyway. God love him, but no.
Is it bad?
Well, the kid is not my son. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh man.
One thing I will say about time traveling from the Victorian period to 1979 San Francisco is, I mean, San Francisco, well, just the 70s, especially the late 70s in general, had so many weird fashion styles like Bonnie and Clyde and like all these weird, like, getting medieval things and like all these different inspirations for fashion. So no one really batted an eye at the way he was dressed because I mean, it's the 70s at San Francisco. He's just, he's wearing a suit. So what, but he would have blended in beautifully. Even with that mustache and the hair.
That's true. I'm trying to think that wasn't even really commented on. How odd, huh?
The wire-rimmed glasses that he could not
Yeah,
leave
I
alone.
don't think it was.
Oh, God.
Just that when he met, was it Annie in the bank?
Amy.
Yeah.
Her and her friend, kind of.
Yeah.
What was he wearing?
His basic little. Well,
But
and
they
then,
were,
like,
but that was in a, oh, that looks nice type tone of voice,
Yeah,
not just
right. It's like,
what a
oh, you're a
weirdo.
sharp dresser. Yeah.
Unique. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was a hipster before they were hip,
And he kept his suit the whole time, unlike our boy Jack, who morphed throughout the movie into Mr. 70s.
Well, and it seemed like he had like really fit in and built him a life there. And it was like, didn't he leave like 10 minutes before this guy?
Yeah, it couldn't have been more than an hour. It couldn't have been more than an hour.
Like, how did he get out of the museum before Wells showed up? It's just like,
Right, yeah.
oh,
Because when he
God.
came back, he hopped in and he left.
And if we want to start that, how in the hell did it go across the planet?
Here.
across the pond. Yeah.
Which not only did they not address, they also used it as a fucking crutch to explain the time difference. Because he was like, oh wow, it's off, and he looked at the clock, and he was like, and he saw this newspaper and said San Francisco. Oh, it's the time difference, and then the whole fucking movie goes on, and I'm like,
so the Earth rotated, and that's why you're in a different place now. It's like, what? Yeah.
That's right. I never thought about that, but yeah, that's weird. Yeah, it should have just
and
been
they just
like
glossed it over.
time travel in the same spot.
Right. It's not
But
a
how
TARDIS,
many
for
time
God's sake.
travel movies do that?
See, and this is why we bring Doctor Who people on to talk about these things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a TARDIS. It doesn't move in space. It only moves in time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
The Eloi aren't in some other country. The Eloi are right there in England.
Mm-hmm.
But TARDIS, time and relative dimensions in space, that sort of just, you can go wherever the fuck you want. But you would think the time machine would be like a stagnant thing, like, here you are.
Well, he even said, and the fact that it raises up off the floor for no reason, just so they can have a special effect. Can we talk about the special, speaking of Doctor Who, can we talk about the special effects?
That was my first thing. It was like, oh my god, the special effects will look like cheesy Doctor Who from the 70s. And they did.
And also,
I thought it was glorious.
They seem to be, like, there was, like, the initial traveling to San Francisco part, it was so, like, it went on and on, and I remember thinking,
I paused it in the middle and walked away.
Are they trying to be 2001: A Space Odyssey here? Because this is a lot of flashing lights. This is a lot of swirly,
thing, wasn't it? Yes, it was.
Like
background chatter stuff.
You know.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was just basically we didn't start the fire. Was what it was.
Oh my god.
It was a bunch of news articles being read by whatever TV news reporters and shit like that. It was. I will say one thing. Clever. I will say one thing about this movie. I will never be able to watch Star Trek 4 again.
Yeah.
This movie has fucking ruined Star Trek 4 for me.
Oh, that's the one with the headbands on the bus.
Same
yes.
plot.
Yes, headbands on the bus. Yes.
Whales in this movie.
No, Jack the Ripper, whales. What's the difference? It's the same story. Think about it. It's the same story.
Well, it's the same screenwriter.
It's the same writer and the same director and the same story.
That's true. Yeah, my husband. My husband went, "Oh, Nicholas Meyer. Oh, okay." And I'm like, "Wait, oh God, okay." Because my husband's always. He's got the same kind of brain that y'all have, where it's like he just sort of connects movies through weird things, and it's just like, oh god, okay, yeah.
Time
he goes,
to
he
San
saved
Francisco.
Star Trek. I'm like, okay.
Yeah, this was actually Meyer's first directorial.
This was his directorial.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
He was writing novels. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was a novelist before that.
Yeah, he wrote
a few movies.
7% Solution.
That too.
What was it? The Canary. Something about the Canary.
Yeah.
Which was about the Phantom of the Opera.
Oh, okay.
I got a question for you.
Mm.
Where did this movie take place? Where did Time After Time take place?
You mean San Francisco?
Yes.
Yes.
And what movie came out that same year in San Francisco?
Okay, it was like
79.
79, so
let's go. Yeah, even before.
I don't know.
Something about an earthquake, maybe.
No, Dirty Harry. Why didn't they contact Dirty Harry?
They just called Dirty Harry. They would have solved this problem. You are right, sir. You are correct. This shit would have been
Dirty
20 minutes
Herbert.
long.
I have never seen that movie, Dirty Harry. So.
Oh, it's actually pretty good.
It's pretty
actually
I know
really good.
It's weird. I've never seen it, but no.
Yeah,
take
the time.
Andy Robinson is absolute genius in that movie.
He is.
Andrew Robinson, the guy who played Garrick on DS9.
Oh,
he's the bad guy in Dirty Harry.
Oh, okay.
Yes. I highly recommend this.
Yep.
See, I have to watch it now just for my Garrick fandom. So yes.
Always comes back to Star Trek.
Yeah, it sure does. It really does.
Star Trek and Sgt. Pepper's apparently, but
yeah. Although. I will say one thing that bugged me, and maybe y'all can. So, Mary Steenburgen, she was doing this.
okay.
I don't.
The accent.
Her character. The accent.
Drove me nuts.
It's like I couldn't place what she was trying. Was she just supposed to, like, she was just trying to sound wisecracking and it came out kind of New Yorkish, or I don't know what she was trying to do. Nothing about the way she played her character made any sense.
It didn't make any sense at all.
But because she's always adorable, but it's like, what are you doing?
I was surprised her role was so easy to pick up. All of a sudden, she is infatuated by this guy with an English accent.
Right.
It's the
that's
waistcoat, man. The waistcoat gets him every time. I'm just saying.
It's worked for me numerous times in my life.
I actually had to think about it, and I was like, wait a minute. Did this come out before Love at First Bite? Because Mary Steenburgen seems to be playing the same role as
Paul Apprentice.
No.
Oh.
Susan St. James.
Susan St. James. And the Time After Time actually came out first.
Yeah, there is very the kind of
because the slightly stoned
smart but dipshit
New York accent was just I don't know. Yeah, it was just.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was sitting there thinking, you're in San Francisco. Why are you talking like that? And it seemed fake. I mean, she kept it up consistently, but it still seemed fake. And it was one of many things that took me out of this movie.
Slightly New Yorkish, but a little of everything. It was almost.
I swear she slipped into Southern occasionally too. There's just the weird drawl thing, and she sounded high.
She definitely sounded high.
I mean, San Francisco. I mean, come on.
Well, it may not
and
be wrong.
Whatever the hell she was cooking in her kitchen with that damn swinging door. Her apartment fascinated me too. But and the Mickey Mouse phone or whatever.
That was actually fun.
Watching
Wells try to figure out the Mickey Mouse phone was fun.
Yeah, the fact that a phone would be kind of weird enough as it is, but then you throw in the what is this thing?
Weird, but not unheard of in 1893. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have looked anything like that. Sorry, Liz. Go ahead.
Right.
Sorry. For him to watch her once driving, he got driving down pretty well too, didn't he?
Oh, he's a quick study. Yeah.
Yep.
Well, he was asking questions.
Smacked the garage once, and he was like, "Okay, I got this."
No. Here we go. Because when he was asking questions when she was driving, he said, "So R is reverse, which is backwards, and D is drive, which is forwards." And so the first time he gets in the car to try to drive it and back out of the garage, what does he do? He puts it in D, which he has to know is wrong.
Yeah.
He knows R is backwards. Why does he hit the fucking wall?
He was flustered.
That was dumb. That was a dumb joke, and it should have left it alone.
Well, they couldn't have him back out of the driveway perfectly,
They didn't have to have him back out perfectly.
So he didn't have to figure out a clutch or anything.
He wobbled plenty.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that would have been fine. I was fine. As cliche as backing into the trash cans is, I was fine with that because he's never driven a car.
Yeah.
But the ramming the garage was just dumb.
Yeah.
And then
Sorry, it was
once again, they leave in the car, and he has to run all the way back to her house, figure out the car, freaking break the garage,
and then
back out.
Instantly
and
right behind them.
He still gets there. Yeah, he still gets there at the same time they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like, wow, he's a little speed racer.
It's like the opposite of the time machine.
Yeah.
Because the time machine puts him in San Francisco way later than Jack got there.
For a movie about time, there is a very little time consistency in this movie. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
True.
Oh my lord. Oh, and I even, speaking of like having to stop and check things, I actually, when there was like you're a regular Sherlock Holmes, like before he actually used the name Sherlock Holmes with the police, which was like, although I did think it was kind of funny that he was so like, my name is Herbert Wells, but and it's just like, look, you're assuming a random person on the street knows the name H.G. Wells or whatever. It's like, don't get too full of yourself. She hasn't read a book, but I had to
She
double
even said
check
that.
I had to double check when Arthur Conan Doyle lived, because I was like, wait, were they contemporaries? Or because I really thought he was much later, but he actually was earlier.
Yeah.
And that and this first Sherlock Holmes book came out in 1887, and The Time Machine came out in 1895. I jotted that down because as long as I was looking it up, I might as well write some things down. But I had to double check. Wait, is that anachronistic? Why can they make a Sherlock Holmes joke here? And I had to double check and make sure it was okay.
Yeah, well, keep in mind also that the 7% Solution came out in 1976. So,
yeah.
And Time After Time came out in 1979.
Sure.
A little self-referential, but whatever.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God. What? Oh, okay. We might as well. Since we're talking about, the time problems and things. There was also I loved the thing of seeing the newspaper from the future, but seeing her being dead in it. Of course, gigantic picture of her, because of course, I know they wanted us to see it, but it's still she's just some chick who works in a bank. It's not like it's front page news and a giant headshot, but it's we know there's all this danger. We know exactly when he's going to come to kill her. So what do? We take her back to her apartment. It's take her anywhere else.
I remember she was supposed to leave 10 minutes before she's supposed to die. That's plenty of time.
It's is the point that you're just trying to get killed?
It's plenty of time if you decide to pop a Valium beforehand. Shit.
Oh, and apparently she popped.
And then slam some of the sherry. So let's cross the streams on these drugs here and see what happens, right? It'll be fine.
I'm not judging.
That's what I was saying.
That's
I'm
totally
about
my
to
play.
die.
But if I think a murderer is coming, maybe I'm thinking
unconsciousness might not be the answer, right?
I go hide in someone else's apartment. Very strange.
Well, and I thought it was weird also when he was like, "Oh, you need to come with me," and she's like, "Well, you can stay here." And he's like, "No, I've got my work. I've got the time machine. I'm writing these books." And she's like, "Well, my work is important to me too." Bitch, you're a teller at the bank.
Yeah, it took you 3 years before they let you touch foreign money.
Right.
It's like, okay.
And also, how the fuck does she afford that place in San Francisco?
It was 1979.
So prices weren't any better then either.
Yeah, and he actually at one point, because he's going down there were a lot of seedy parts of San Francisco back then, but at one point I was like, oh, he needs to go in the Condor Club. Go in the Condor Club, because it's one of the ones that it's like a big landmark. And at one point I spotted it in the background, turn around, go over to the end of the other side. Because the Condor Club was where Carol Doda, who was one of these strippers who was one of the first person to get enormous boob implants.
Yes.
And I don't think she didn't die this way, but they had a it was a very elaborate stage setup that she had, and there was a piano that would stay up at the ceiling and would be lowered down on pulleys or whatever, and she would do routines on the piano and singing and dancing and whatever, and then the piano would go back up to the top. Well, one night after a show, a couple people were having sex on top of the piano, and somehow I guess they didn't notice that it was rising up. Someone was crushed to death between the top of the piano and the ceiling in that club. I know way too many weird things about San Francisco, but it's
Well, bring them on. Come on.
Very classy. And the sign outside of the Condor, it has a big what do they call it? A blade, when it goes a big long tall sign that goes up the side of a building, and it has a weird kind of cartoony picture of Carol Doda, and her nipples have red lights that flash. Fantastic. But I don't know if it's still there. But very, very classy.
That's awesome.
Do you recall where it was?
It was a main.
Yeah,
it
can I
was
get
a
an
main
address on
drag
that?
where things were.
Yeah. It sounds.
Yeah, you know what? I can find it. I will find it.
Yeah, and I'm coming back that I don't know what we're talking about now.
It's okay. I know you had to run away for a second.
Go for it.
Right now I'm talking about the part where it was Jack the Ripper who was walking down the Scuzzy Street, wasn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh no, the Condor's still there. Oh damn, look at that. Okay, so it's on 560 Broadway in San Francisco.
There you go.
Road trip
So
less.
Woo!
Yeah, driving all the way to
18 or
California.
over to enter this.
Go figure.
Oh yeah, there's a Wikipedia page of it, and you can see the picture of Carol in her bikini, but it's taken during the day, so you can't see the lights. But yeah, it was in the back. Oh, apparently it's right next door to Big Al's. That's some.
Which is
what? Big Al's is a nightclub. I'm guessing that the mascot or whatever is like a gangster looking dude with a big Tommy gun.
Ooh.
It's right.
So Al Capone
I like
type
that. Okay.
reference?
Yeah, he totally looks like Al Capone.
Cool.
And then I can't read what that sign says, but it's a weird picture. It's like, when signs have everything is just like a series of light bulbs and you can only read it at night. It's like, I don't know what the hell that says. Yeah, lots of topless bars and things, and anyway. It's classy. Yeah, they just, they went to, it was fun to me to be, to have a movie in San Francisco, and it's like, I know where this is. Oh, I know what street they're walking down. Although the part where they're at the Palace of Fine Arts, and that was the thing about her apartment that I was like, bitch, you can't afford to live there. Like, she's like, oh, my apartment's right over here, while they're at the Palace of Fine Arts. Like, the only people who can live there, it's like, those are some really, really nice Victorian houses. Like, you do not live there, lady.
And then they finally show the
it was
outside of her
the
place.
70s, so it makes a little bit,
But even back then, that was the shishi-poo-poo part of town, where the Palace of Fine Arts is.
And then they finally show her where she lives, and it's this rinky-dink looking little house.
Yeah.
But she's obviously
it's
renting.
Like, bitch, you live in the
flat.
Tenderloin. You do not live in a nice part of town.
Right.
Although I did love how he kept going uphill and uphill and uphill, because I was like, well, at least he at least went. That's one tip I got as a tourist in San Francisco once, being told that if you're ever not sure where you are, but you're worried that you're in a bad part of town, just go uphill. Like, from wherever you are, uphill is going to be nicer than where you are. And I'm like, that is a good tip.
It sure is.
Yeah.
It's better if you've been doing your cardio, but it's a good tip.
Oh, my God.
Sure is.
Walking all over San Francisco is not easy.
That's
it's
not
hard
a good
enough to drive it, but...
Yeah, you don't see a lot of bicycle tours of San Francisco, I'm just saying.
Oh, God.
Oh, hell no. No. Getting up to the movie. Wait, I have a question about the movie.
Bring it.
Okay.
Maybe you mentioned this while I was gone for that few minutes. I never understood, and I still don't understand, the no return key.
Oh, okay.
What is it? I didn't really grasp it. Like, what is it?
It wasn't used the way I thought it was going to either.
Yeah, like, I really don't understand it.
So there's like the key in the dashboard, I guess one could say. And then there's that other key that's outside the door.
Right.
But that's like a sonic screwdriver, going back to Doctor Who for a second.
The one in the dashboard, though, that's the one that he took that kept that Jack the Ripper Stevenson was trying to get back, right? So I don't understand.
Right, because he wanted
like,
to.
What does it do? I didn't understand it.
You can't drive without the key.
Well, you can't. The time machine will go back to where it was. He wanted to get the key. Getting the key meant that he could keep the time machine, which means he could go whenever he wanted, and the machine would stay there, and then he could just jump again.
Oh, okay.
Without it, he couldn't, because his first jump didn't have the key, so it took him to the San Francisco in '79. He got out, and the machine went back.
Right.
Okay, yeah, but I still don't understand why they call it the no return key, because it still doesn't make sense to me.
In a weird way, it was more of a instant return key.
Right.
If there's
But
no
didn't they
key,
refer to it? They called it the no return key, right? I just
I
couldn't
think so,
grasp
yeah.
it. I could not grasp it. Anyway, okay, but that's okay. It
And
was
see,
in the
I
70s,
thought-
whatever.
It was one of a
the
list of things
end.
that didn't make sense. So
Yeah.
well, and when Jack the Ripper was like, after his whole like, I'm gonna kill her if you don't give it to me, and all that, whatever it was, and Jack the Ripper gets in there, I thought Wells was gonna just grab that thing out of the outside because it can't function without it. Like, fine, you have the key now, but I have the battery or whatever
The
this thing
master
is.
key.
Like a power
What
source or
ends
something.
up happening is something that was because I'm like, oh, I know what's going to happen. He's going to pull that out, and now it can't go. But what ends up happening is that it like electrocutes him or something.
Yeah, it like vaporizes him.
And it's like, oh, I'm sorry. That's
Oh, yeah, and then, I thought that
Time
was very
machine.
Doctor Who, too, because he just got sent off into eternal time.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought that was very Doctor Who, like,
It was, but it also was not. Like, there was a lot, almost all the technical aspects of the time machine, they'd explain one thing, and then the resolution would be something that had nothing to do with what they told us. Like, they were just, like they forgot what they said before, and they just made up a new thing. It really didn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they did explain it at the first as to if you pull that outside key that the person would vaporize.
They actually said that?
Did they?
I thought they said that it won't run without it.
No, they made a point early in the movie where Wells was explaining it, and he was explaining it to Stevenson.
Yeah.
That if you remove that, then you will be vaporized.
I guess that's a security feature.
On the outside of the vehicle,
On the
though?
outside.
Yeah. That makes
It
all
was
kinds of
very
sense.
strange, but
Well,
that's okay.
if it's inside, then you're vaporizing yourself.
If it's inside,
Exactly.
you're not. If you're inside,
You're
then
not.
Wells is not pulling the damn thing out on you when you're trying to leave.
Yeah. It's oh god.
True that.
Poor design. That's what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, it makes sense without making sense now, but that's okay.
Basically,
You know?
that's the best you're going to get out of this movie too.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, this was way more about H.G. Wells getting laid in the future than it was about
Yeah.
the Jack the Ripper thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
Oh, of course.
Oh yeah, because they're really, it's like there's very little chasing Jack the Ripper through San Francisco.
Oh, there's chasing going on, but yeah.
But
Yeah.
And of course, the fun little historical fiction twist. H.G. Wells, in real life, H.G. Wells' second wife was named Amy Robbins.
Oh, I was wondering because the little cards at the end that sort of said what happened after they went back. I thought about looking that up later, but I forgot. That's good. That's good to know.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what?
Yeah,
that-
because at
real-
the end they
real
said
Amy.
something about they got married and they didn't she die before him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and then and then I thought it was interesting that it's like something like, and he wrote about socialism and blah 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 and women's liberation and blah blah blah, and he died in 1946, and I was like, why did they so socialism in there. That's really weird.
He was talking about it in that.
He thought that's what it was going to be like in the future, and he was disappointed.
Yeah, in that party at the beginning, that's what he was talking about. Yeah.
Okay, that's right. Okay.
He's lecturing his friends about socialism, but yeah, and every time they said free love, it's like I meant to kind of think back, like, what the hell was the Victorian era's version of free love? Because they only seemed like they brought it up just so he could say it in present day San Francisco and have someone go, ooh. You don't look
but
like
that wasn't even a thing in 79. That's like 12 years after the point of free love. You know what I mean?
I mean, everything was, it was still it was still sex, drugs, and rock and roll until AIDS came along. So AIDS wasn't quite a thing yet.
Oh, that's true.
Almost.
It was about to be, but not quite.
But it wouldn't have been fun in 79 because people weren't on acid all the time in San Francisco, and by 79, how boring.
And that was another thing. I turned to my husband and I said, you know what, we should be watching this, and like Steve should walk by. Our friend Steve should just walk by in the background, because that was when he was in San Francisco.
Oh, Steve! Oh, God, yes.
The fabulous Steve, who is a recurring character from our show. Oh, the fabulous Steve. But yeah, he.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also like, because I kept going, I was like, okay, it's November 79, so that would have been like about a year or so after Mayor Marconi and Harvey Milk were murdered, and I was like trying to figure out what's going on in San Francisco at this time. So I remember that happened right around the time that my family moved to California, so that, like, I know that. But yeah, I was kind of hoping there was, but then again, they don't know what's big and historically significant because they're in the middle of it, because it was current day. So they don't,
right.
Whatever they would have picked would have been like, not so much.
Well, that's why time travel is such an easy target for that kind of thing. Because you can be out of time and it doesn't matter.
Generally not a good idea, because current day, you don't know. Like, you have to set it like the week before you're writing it, so that you don't accidentally, well, San Francisco had a giant earthquake and fell off the face of the earth in November of 79. That's not even in this movie, or something,
Mm-hmm.
But what they should have mentioned, the two most important events in San Francisco in 79. One, Kiss at the Cow Palace on the Dynasty Tour.
There you go.
And two, that was Tim Curry's club tour.
That's right. That's right. That's where Steve saw Tim. That's right.
I cannot believe that they did not mention Kiss at the Cow Palace in 79. I mean,
it should have been on the front page of the newspaper.
That would have been hilarious.
Oh my God.
That would have been great.
Oh my Lord. Well, I will say Malcolm McDowell was still quite a cutie pie back then. Of course, he still is. But David Warner really needed a different haircut. But I guess Again, it was 1979.
Yeah.
Damn. I mean, that was some unfortunate hair.
It was a lot. I thought, for the limited role he had, I thought he did great otherwise.
He was
the
fun.
wardrobe thing, and I'll extend that to the hair. The wardrobe thing was irritating.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It's like their whole I guess I'll sell things that I have to make money or whatever. Like the whole exchange of money and those kinds of things kind of I don't know, it kind of got like, well, so is he not going to change money now because now he's going to take his old money over to a coin shop? Like, he doesn't know.
He was.
It was a weird conversation.
And he seemed let down by $25. And it's like, dude, in 18 whatever, that's like big money.
Right.
And you're like,
right. That's the deal. He was actually the smart move was taking jewelry with him because it's antique. This was made back in the 1880s, 1890s. It's antique. Like the guy even told him, you'd be better off selling this with an antique dealer than the pawn shop or wherever, the jewelry store, wherever he was. He's like, I got an antique guy I would love to show this to, but
I'm so glad that when he saw the tattoo on the guy's arm, like after the whole discussion about when he was confused about the Second World War and stuff, and I was so glad that they didn't make some kind of a weird, inappropriate, like he just saw it and he thought about it, but he didn't say anything. And it's like, yeah, please don't turn that into a joke.
Don't go there, right?
Yeah.
This movie is not funny enough for you to make this good. Make a good joke out of this. So it was best that they just left it alone. I thought it was. I'm not sure they even needed to show it, but
yeah, I was really surprised. And like, because back, I mean, I remember this would have been like 83, when I had a teacher who brought a woman, like, I don't know if this woman was just like a friend of hers or a neighbor of hers or something, but she brought a woman in who had been in a concentration camp to talk to our class.
Oh, wow.
And she showed us her arm and her tattoo and whatever. And it was always like, that always stuck with me, like, oh my God, like there's just people just living in the world who went through that, and that's crazy. That was a very weird thing as a young teenager to realize, like, oh, these people are still alive. These people are still around us.
This is still in living
Lord.
memory, right?
Yeah. And I don't think there's too many of them. I think by now there's probably not too many of them left, unless they were really little.
Right.
But yeah. But that was a weird moment because I was bracing myself for something really inappropriate. But you're right. Like, why even show it?
Right.
Like, why?
There didn't seem to be a purpose to it.
Mm-mm. It didn't. It didn't turn into anything.
You're right. It was going to be a bad idea to address it, so why use it at all?
And my God, he would have come off like, what are you talking about? Like, he would have come off like a Holocaust denier or something.
Right. He hadn't figured out how to answer the questions that people were asking him about why he didn't know anything about history.
Yeah.
And so he couldn't have said anything good.
And he was such a good progressive kind of guy and smart and all these things, and like he would have made horrible faux pas that without even realizing it. And it's like, yeah, dude, it's like maybe you should have listened in on some of that audio that was playing when you were traveling time.
Several minutes through time.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, I mean, we had to sit through it, so maybe he should have paid attention to it a little bit. I don't know.
Here's a question for you.
Oh no. Okay.
When I watched this, and there was a scene where Stevenson was in the disco, sitting there in the...
Oh, yeah.
That one little table apparently in the middle of the dance floor, yeah.
Yeah. When I saw him sitting there, the only thing I could do was think of, we are wild and crazy guys.
Yes!
See, yeah, that was where you were getting to the end of his fashion transformation. And so, very much a leisure suit looking thing, uh-huh.
I didn't understand it. Why do this?
He was blending in. Which is not really something Jack the Ripper ever did, but historically, but whatever.
No.
True.
Although, and I couldn't help because recently, as I was watching this, I was like, I kept thinking about how this woman who I've been watching a lot of videos where this woman, I guess she's writing a book or something, where she has this theory that Jack the Ripper was Edgar Degas, and she just has like all this, like presenting all of her evidence for why, if he wasn't, then there's some really weird coincidences about all these things, and I just kept thinking about how like I mean, there's a really good chance that Jack the Ripper, like all those 5 murders weren't even committed by the same person, but there's things like the way they presented him as just I just look around until I see a woman that I consider to be slutty, and then I just have to kill her. And it's like it's like the whole thing with the pocket watch that played music and all that stuff. At first I was like, oh, this is interesting. I wonder what that means. Like, oh, I wonder who the woman is in the picture. Like, the movie never gave us any kind of motive or like, not that it matters, but it was like, why are you bothering to put all these little interesting little details and then they don't pay off in any way?
Right. Again, we have a Jack the Ripper movie which barely touches on the concept of Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a light romantic drama otherwise.
Right.
Except for the first 20 minutes and the last 5.
Yeah.
It's irritating. They could have, I mean, honestly, that watch was a better Jack the Ripper character than the one they gave to David Warner. And I love David Warner, don't get me wrong. He's awesome.
He's great.
He's good in this movie.
Yeah.
But I like to watch more.
I feel like at least 30 to 45 minutes is on the cutting room floor and all of our questions are answered. Like there's so many little things that are like, oh, they're obviously they didn't mention that for no reason. Oh no, apparently they did.
Yeah, they pretty much did.
I'm looking for Chekhov's gun all through it. It's just like, oh, well, we made a point of inviting her over for dinner. I was weirdly happy that Carol was the one who was dead in the apartment. Because I was like, see, I was right. Carol's coming over for dinner. She's going to be, It's like, I was like, yeah, he's going to kill Carol. Look, it's, but.
And what cop? Even a beat cop. I mean, okay, so there's a severed hand on the floor.
Oh my God.
That makes the beat cop throw up? Come on, man. That's not even realistic writing. Jeez.
And that severed hand, didn't have, it's like, why is the blood everywhere but the severed hand?
It was pretty clean, yeah.
It was pretty damn clean. It's like, that looks like he just went to a joke shop, bought a rubber hand, threw it in the room.
Splattered some blood around, missed the hand entirely, and then started filming, right.
And also, was he just like, I mean, that's not his MO. Cutting hands off has never been a thing.
Oh no, hands have nothing to do with it.
There was so much stuff, and it was just like, oh, that was another thing. There's always blood flying everywhere. Every time we see him do a killing, like he'll get a little blood on his cheek or whatever. It's like, dude, if your pocket watch has this picture in it it obviously means something to you, but you never get blood on the watch. Somehow you're controlling.
Right.
Controlling the slash.
Right. This is someone who'd never really studied Jack the Ripper when he wrote this screenplay. I mean,
I guess so.
Novel or whatever the hell it was.
I mean, you're going to write a movie. Why do any research about the historical characters?
Why bother to get it right?
It wasn't in the budget to clean the watch.
I mean, you're probably not wrong.
Yeah. Okay, just so you know, Pitney doesn't know why he keeps disconnecting.
Okay.
I keep getting texts from him. He's like, I'm trying to get back in. Like, poor thing.
Yeah, weird.
He was so excited about being on, and his computer won't stay connected for some reason.
It's Skype for you.
Yeah. Skype is weird.
I'm looking through my notes to see if there was anything I haven't said yet. Oh, I did write down doorknob cam, so dramatic. That was kind of a weird.
It was an odd angle.
The cinematographer is just like, I got this little bitty camera here. What if we stick it right here by the doorknob?
Shoot it like we're looking through the keyhole, because that's never been done.
Yeah. It's just. Oh my lord.
Yeah.
I still can't get over her weird accent, though. It still bothers me.
Yeah. I spent way too much of this movie trying to figure that out.
Yeah. Because she just, she was so chatty. I mean, she, like, any scene that she was in, she pretty much talked through the whole thing. But it was just like, what is the deal with your voice? Was this direction? Did they tell you to do this, or did you just? Oh, it's just a character choice that I've made.
Yeah, I think I kept expecting there to be a punchline for it or something. Maybe that was why I kept thinking about it. But other than it was just irritating.
It was just one more thing that didn't end up paying off before the movie ended. It was just like, I guess we'll never know.
Right. I mean, I've also never heard Mary Steenburgen talk when she's not in a role, so maybe that's how she talks. I don't know.
I feel like I have, but I mean, not much. I mean, she's not really an accent person, I don't think.
Well, maybe this movie proved that to her. I don't know. She was like, oh man, she saw this on the screen and she's like, oh man, I'm never doing that accent shit again. Who knows?
It's like, well, I'll never pay for that dialect coach again.
Mm.
Oh man.
Not sure why there was movie in this budget for a dialect coach, but hey, whatever. Especially given that I read somewhere that Malcolm McDowell actually, to prepare for this role, found recordings of H.G. Wells speaking into like a recording device.
Oh wow!
And he was like, "I am not doing that voice. There's no way in hell I'm doing that voice."
Is his voice something awful? Oh, now I'm gonna look that up.
Kind of high pitched and whiny. And he was like, "No,
fantastic.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that."
Well, I think in a lot of old recordings, everybody sounds high pitched and whiny.
Well,
I think
recording speeds varied wildly. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, it's a little. I mean, he could have slowed it down, but apparently had an accent that just made him sound. Ugh. And so he was like, "No, I'm just going to stick with my own. Thanks."
Did you ever hear the Thomas Edison doll that was like a little girl, like a porcelain doll that had like a recording thing of someone like saying, "Now lay me down to sleep," and it's the most horrifying voice. I think there was some like little Mary Had a Little Lamb kind of stuff in there, but every single one was just like, it's like, oh my god, it's like nightmare fuel. And to think it's coming out of a doll.
Right, it's like the earliest version of Teddy Ruxpin that you can find historically.
And it's one of those things I'm like, did people used to think that sounded charming? Like, I don't, like the way things that used to be cute are now hideous.
No, but it was funny as hell to put an Iron Maiden cassette into the back of Teddy Ruxpin and turn that loose.
Yep.
Haven't tried that one yet. But...
Yet? You have an Iron Maiden cassette you could do that with?
I don't even know an Iron Maiden song, so...
I only know Rime of the Ancient Mariner, or whatever that one was. That's the only thing off the top of my head.
I mean, the one you're most likely to hear is Run to the Hills, but yeah.
Oh, right, yeah.
Still not giving me a clue.
No, that's fine. Don't worry. It wasn't meant to be a test.
Okay, thank goodness. God, I would have flunked.
I think I found the Edison doll recording. Hold on, let me see.
Is that early Paul Frees?
These dolls were released in 1890.
Wow.
That's,
I mean, kind of amazing technologically speaking, but wow.
Oh yeah, I love that. I mean, I mean, I'm really, really obsessed with like very, very old music recordings and stuff. I mean, the oldest record in my collection was pressed in 1904. No, 1905.
Dang, cool.
But it's the second oldest recording of Harry Lauder that I know of, and to get older than that, you have to go to a wax cylinder,
Right.
and it's like, well, I'm not going to all the trouble to get something that plays wax cylinders.
Drawing the line there, huh?
I mean, I already have a record that sounds like, but it's still it's like it's real, and I know it, and it's fine. But the oldest recording I have in my collection, which I only have just like it's digital, but it was like a collection of like. It was supposed to be like a bunch of people being on a sleigh ride together it was recorded in 1897. And it's fascinating.
Wow.
And it's so weird. It's like, oh man, all these people have been dead for such a long time. But I love, every time I buy a turntable, it's like, if it doesn't play 78s, I don't want it. Because I have too many 78s in my collection to.
Sure.
And they're all dead. All of them. Yeah, watch it. Watch it for the Feldman. Watch it for, weird. It's odd.
Right.
But it's very entertaining.
You can watch it. It's fine. Just don't expect it to make sense, and don't expect an actual Jack the Ripper movie out of it.
Right.
No.
You gotta mitigate your expectations with this one.
Yeah, despite the opening, it's just like that. It's just like, oh, this is setting. Oh, this is great. This is going to be. And then we get to San Francisco, and it's like, oh, okay. It's like it's been 20 minutes. Did we forget we're looking for Jack the Ripper?
When he starts asking around where the nuclear vessels are, it's time to probably turn it off. I'm just saying.
Hello, computer. I had read that some of the gags that Meyer he had written for Time After Time that he didn't use them, so he put them in Star Trek 4. Now I didn't see they didn't break it down and say which ones was like.
Oh yeah, double dumbass. That would have been awesome.
Oh yeah, that would have been great.
That would have had.
That movie.
I did too. I just don't know if I can ever watch it again now. And I swear I'd seen Time After Time before. I also am impressed at how much I blocked it out if I had, because I didn't remember much of any of it.
My brain, I think my brain just combined it with Somewhere in Time. I really think, because there was lots of things that I was just like, oh, like I have like a half of a visual moment of a scene, and it's just like, well, I think I'm seeing Malcolm McDowell in my head, but I don't know what I'm seeing. And my husband totally was like, why would you watch that crappy Christopher Reeve movie? I'm like, nope, you made the same mistake I did. It's not Somewhere in Time. Oh, that's a completely different bad movie. I mean, I'm sure it's fun.
Just say crap fest.
Probably.
I just know that in the early days of HBO and stuff, when they didn't have that many movies to play, I think it was one of them.
Oh yeah,
like
it was
that,
played ahead.
Beastmaster, and Bill Cosby himself. Like, they didn't have a lot.
Right.
Back when we were stealing HBO because we were rebels.
Mm-hmm. And they didn't know anything about locking down their signals.
Well, most of the, cable came through a cable. And there were no cables where I lived. You had to steal HBO or just not have anything.
Right, or you're just watching the big three, and that was it. Because that's all we had. Uphill both ways.
And we liked it.
Well, I don't know if I go that far, but
yeah. Or you get those scrambled channels, but those were usually porn.
Yeah.
Those inexplicable. How are those going through the airwaves? How are those being picked up by my little TV antenna? It's like the channel that's right next to the channel we're watching, and then you click it like this, and it's like, oh,
Right, if you get it right
That's
in the
weird.
middle of the click, you can see something you shouldn't have been able to see.
Yeah, if you watch long enough, it'll clear up for just a second.
Mm-hmm. Or your brain will start translating the scramble, and that's probably bad.
And sometimes the audio would be there, which is weird. Yeah.
Back in the day when they had all the cable channels on the box, right?
Mm-hmm. Box with the slider.
The slider box.
I always think of the slider at my aunt's house.
Oh God.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Cinemax was channel 3 on the slider box. Well, channel 3 is also the channel that you have to set the VCR to.
Oh yes, you had to program. You had to turn little wheels and things to tune the channel VCR. Yes.
Oh, I
One
remember.
night I'm walking through, and my son, he's probably 5-6 years old, and I hear like this heavy breathing and moaning, and I'm like, "What the hell? That ain't me, not in my house." So I turn in there, and he had been watching Barney, and his VCR turned off. And when the VCR turned off, it's after 10 o'clock on Skinamax.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, no.
It's like, holy shit. We could change it to Channel 4, which I think was HBO.
Right.
Like,
Lucy, you got some splaining to do.
Yeah. It's like, I don't...
The other side of Barney, rated X.
Barney does Dallas.
I've never seen a
dinosaur jokes. They're like, no.
I suck you, you suck me.
No.
Wow.
Throbbing purple dinosaur.
Oh,
no.
There's a new one coming out.
New Barney?
A Barney?
Yes, a new Barney.
Is it a horror movie like the Winnie the Pooh one?
I don't think it's supposed to be, but it is.
It will be for some people.
Yeah.
There will be flashbacks.
Well, they decided to do it completely animated at this point. So there's not going to be any... Well, there's going to be little kids, but they're going to be animated kids.
It's probably easier that way.
Yeah. Didn't the guy who played Barney, wasn't there like some kind of controversy surrounded around him?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. You're way out of my depth on that one.
Yeah.
I know the guy who was Elmo for a long time.
Maybe I'm thinking Elmo.
Maybe it was the Elmo guy. Which sucks, because, I mean, that guy made Elmo surprisingly awesome. Or resisted Elmo's charms for a very long time.
Yeah.
It's
you
like,
were a bit old for Elmo, weren't you?
A lot old, yeah. But I care. But I'm very pro Sesame Street. I love Sesame Street.
See,
and,
our Elmo was Grover.
Yeah.
That was our Elmo.
Grover's fucking everything, man.
Yeah.
Grover's the best. But Elmo's pretty goddamn funny.
Yeah.
When he's like showing up on talk shows or whatever and like riffing with people. One of my favorite clips ever was Elmo talking to Ricky Gervais, and Ricky goes, "Have you ever had a necrophilia?" or something like that. It's just like, oh my god, it's the funniest thing. Elmo wants a copy of this tape. So good.
Damn.
I think when HBO took over Sesame Street, that was probably the best thing that could have happened to Sesame Street. With the parodies and stuff that they started doing. And
they got access to a lot more stuff.
Yeah, so it was... It definitely kept them dropping.
They had better lawyers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still... I mean, they never had the right... Like, all the parody music that they did. The Letter B one, which sounds... almost exactly like Let It Be. It's so good. But they got in trouble. And it was like, well, technically it's not Let It Be, it's Letter B. You know.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's Letter B.
the Springs Born to Add, the cover of the Born to Add album that looks exactly like the Born to Run cover.
Yeah.
And it's like Cookie Monster is Clarence and Bert is versus Springsteen. It's so good. I love Sesame Street.
I think the best one I saw is when they did the parody of Sons of Anarchy.
Oh no, I think I missed that. I gotta look that up.
It is hilarious. Just the way they did Jax and everything was like,
They're so
oh man,
good at that stuff.
so broody.
So, time after time.
Time after time.
Yeah.
I've heard of that movie.
I think I watched it.
I know I did, and it hurt.
Brought to you by the letters C. The letters H and G.
That's swell.
Oh, God.
So the consensus is you would recommend this, right?
I would. I mean, I don't think it's terrible.
Right.
I thought it was terrible, and I would not recommend it.
Tell us
So
how
you're
you
a role
really
model.
feel.
You asked.
That's okay, because that was me last week.
Mhm. It was.
Yep.
That was you for the black hole too. But
And the Scarecrow. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Amelia, you want to go ahead and promote the podcast a little bit before we can find it?
Sure, yeah. So we're, every other Friday, we're coming to the end of the year of us. We're gonna have
Another year after that?
I don't know, but we are looking forward to just being able to talk about whatever. I don't know if we're gonna have a year of next year, but
As long as it's not the cat.
no. Don't tempt me.
A year of the cat?
I was pretty proud of that, though. It had been a long time since I'd written one of those.
It was good.
It was good.
It was
I
good.
It's just, damn that song.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was.
I mean,
year
I had to
one,
listen to that
40
song
years
so
ago.
many times because the bridge, I had no memory of the bridge. So I had to listen to the song a lot so I could remember it and remember how it went so that when I sang it, I could actually not get lost. And it was just like, damn, I listened to it a lot for a couple weeks. It was, yeah. But, yeah, Baker Street will be next. Anyway, no. But no, the show. So, yeah, we're going to have a Halloween episode. We got Pitney's birthday's out right now. After this comes out, we'll have the Halloween show after that. We're going to have, in November, we're going to have a Doctor Who episode because November is the anniversary of Doctor Who. So we're going to have a whole episode about that. We're not sure what we're doing for Christmas, but we're gonna. Yeah, we'll figure something out. I'm not gonna work as hard as I did last year with the Valley of the Dolls Christmas. That was a lot of work. Where I rewrote the entire. I came up with a whole Valley of the Dolls Christmas, and I rewrote the plot to make it a Christmas special, and that was way more work than I should have ever done.
Well, you learned.
But I kept laughing. Well, I mean, it's like the idea was just so funny to me. I had to do it. But I love Valley of the Dolls. It's a great, it might as well be a Christmas movie. It's always snowing. Every time Anne goes home to her family in Massachusetts or whatever, it's like the stock footage they had always has snow. So it's just always winter there.
Yeah, forget the fact that it's actually July, and it's fine.
Yeah,
Nobody
it's fine.
notice. It's fine.
Nobody cares.
Time continuity is not important in a movie, right?
They're always roasting chestnuts, and it's glamorous. Well, winter clothes are so glamorous anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so anyway,
After what we just talked about, time doesn't mean anything.
Not at all.
Apparently
Not at all.
So yeah, we'd love it if your listeners would check us out and drop us a line, follow us on we've got Instagram. We're Pitney and Amelia on Instagram. We're Bitchen Boutique on Twitter. I will never call it X. We have a Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel where you can go back and watch a lot of live stuff if you want to see what we look like. Don't watch the one from after the end of the Kiss, the last Kiss concert. Don't watch that one.
Oh, I'm totally going back to find that one.
No, don't watch that one. Don't watch that one. I was very frustrated that night.
Yep, we'll link all of those things in the show notes.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I mean, you can watch us. We had a pirate party. We had a 4-hour New Year's Eve show once. We'll never do that again.
Damn, that's a lot. 4 hours is a long time.
We wanted to celebrate all the time zones, and we had lots of guests, and Mike did a video for us, and I think you did.
A video? I don't
Oh,
remember. Maybe, but I don't remember.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm confusing you with someone else. That's possible. We had a lot of guests.
That happens a lot. I have a face that people do that with a lot.
Yeah. God, now I'm trying to think. Who the hell do you look like? Who am I confusing you with? Oh no. Oh, but you were on the Wheel of Horror, which is one of my favorite things we've ever done.
Yeah, that was fun.
And that one was way too fun. I still have not found another use for the wheel, but I will because I spent like $30 on it. So, and it's fun.
Hell yeah.
I just have to come up with things to put on the wheel so I can spin it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah. So, Bitchen Boutique. Come hang out with us. We're really vulgar and obnoxious, and it's fun.
And it's great.
Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate the support.
All right. On that note, we're going to take a quick break and be back with Geek News for you.
Woo!
And we're back. It's time for Geek News for you. In this segment, we bring a couple of news items to the table for discussion. This week, it is Les and myself. And Les, would you go first, please, sir?
Okay. My article is about 3 weeks old, but it is the 10 best atomic age monster movies that aren't Godzilla. And this is kind of interesting because they do have some on the list that I've seen, and most of them I haven't, but things like Tarantula, I remember that because Leo G. Carroll was in that one.
Yeah, that's why I remember that too.
There was a 1958 movie that we discussed at one time, Attack of the 50-Foot Woman.
We did. We discussed the hell out of that one. That was fun.
That was.
In the other direction, The Incredible Shrinking Man, which I loved. I thought that was great.
Oh, that was Atomic too?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, he was subjected and shrunk. But this is a fun article.
Wait, does that mean that all of the Hulk movies are on this list?
No, these are monster movies.
Then Hulk's not a monster?
Nope.
No, just the movie was a monster.
Okay, fair enough. I cannot argue with that logic.
But they have humanoid monsters. They have Ray Harryhausen created monsters, things like that, which is kind of cool. So that was what I'm going to bring in.
Because we all need some more atomic monsters in our lives.
We do.
As I think also.
Cool. Get some stuff to add to the watch list.
Oh yeah, and they're all good. They're all solid.
Because I'm sure your watch list is very short there, Mikey.
Yeah, I'm totally running out of stuff to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Good.
I am not in any way running out of stuff to watch. Somehow always manage to add it faster than I can watch it, but that's because I'm slow at watching it.
So you've got these to watch, and you've got some music that we discussed earlier. Yeah, makes sense to me.
Sure.
Okay. For my news article, I don't know if you guys saw this. James Gunn announced a it's going to be an animated, quote unquote animated movie. It's a joint project between DC Studios and WBPA, and it's going to be called Dynamic Duo. And it's going to follow the early days of Dick Grayson and Jason Todd.
Oh, okay.
Well, and the thing that got me is this. What they're going to be using is what they call as Momo animation, which is a cross between CGI, practical elements of stop motion, and live action.
Interesting.
Wonder how they're going to pull that off, but that is interesting.
I've never heard of that.
I hadn't either. It sounds like it's kind of a new thing, so I'm kind of curious to see how this happens.
Me too.
But it's just, another bat-related project. Surprise, surprise.
There's a lot of eggs in that basket.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, this is hot on the heels of them announcing a film, kind of a team up of, we assume it's a team up. There was no details of Bane and Deathstroke. Like, oh, okay. Because that sounds like a duo that ought to be together.
Oh gosh, yes.
I could see it as a fight.
Yeah, it's probably gonna be more of a fight, but still.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I really hadn't seen any kind of information on that other than that is apparently being considered or they're going to do it.
In the works, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. How far along it is, who knows? But
right. So
It is.
Could be fun.
Yeah, it could be. Okay. Any special shout-outs or mentions this week? Obviously, we want to thank Pitney and Amelia for joining us.
Yeah, we sure do.
That was fun.
Always a good time with them.
Yep. And please go check out their podcast. It's always a blast to listen to, and obviously we'll have links in the show notes and all that. So.
We will. But yeah, I got nothing other than that.
Okay. We'll go ahead and move on to our regular shout-outs. First of all, I want to thank Pop Goes to Culture for allowing us to be part of a great little podcast network. Definitely check them out. There will be a link in the show notes as well. We also want you to check out the fine men and women who are kind enough to spread the word of the fellowship on Twitter by retweeting our links, and that is Podern Family. And the best way to check them out is to do a search. #Podern Family is one word. and just scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, by all means, click on that link and download that episode. And we hope you have a good time listening to them. We also want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to the podcast. In our show notes, you'll be able to check out some of their other music. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We value your feedback. Any comments, questions, complaints, suggestions, observations, what have you, please send them our way. Email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net, or you can go to the website and go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form that you can fill out there. You can also join our Discord. There's an open invitation on the homepage. Discord's free to sign up, and the apps are free. We post a lot of news items, stuff for discussion, stuff to laugh at, stuff to check out. We'll have some activities on there, and we do have a section specifically for feedback, so you can post your thoughts there. On social media, we're the Fellowship of the Geeks on Facebook. On Instagram and Twitter, we're at Fellowship Geeks. If you'd like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found at Mikey Geek. Liz can be found at LN_Geek. Les may or may not be found at Fake Les Webster. And I can be found at Tom TC Geek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you'd be so kind as to rate and review the show, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks for listening.
We appreciate you listening, guys. We appreciate the support as always. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook at The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter at Fellowship Geeks. Until next time,